Autumn Graybill, Ron Reeser,
Here.
Pamela Buffington, Roy Jackson,
Here.
Sherry Alexander,
Here.
Chris Graves,
Here.
Keith Shelby.
Here. Discuss possible approved minutes of the October 27th, 2025 meeting. If you had time to look through there, read them beforehand.
That's a while back, isn't it?
Yeah, we didn't have one last month due to Thanksgiving falling like it did.
Mm-hmm.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second?
Johnny, okay?
Are you?
I'm fine.
We're in the middle of a meeting.
I haven't seen him in a long time.
He's good. He's good.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I was wondering, I thought maybe something was wrong.
He's good. Bill,
Roy, did you second?
I did.
Okay.
we don't know what's going on.
Bill did, I thought.
Bill seconded.
I think you've lost control, actually. It's Christmas, so it's okay.
We're about done.
Come on down there.
All right. Hearing's one of the first things that goes close to 60.
I noticed that, huh?
Getting close to 60.
Park report, Director
Did you
Frank
take,
Pell.
you didn't take a vote, did you?
No.
Did you
Oh.
want a roll call vote, or did you want to do the?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Yeah, it's out of control. It is.
It's a long day. It's a Monday. We're not used to having it this early. Park report, Director Frank Powell, Parks and Cemetery.
Pretty basic, that time of year. Got projects lined out and work around weather, and a lot of guys take days off this time of year. Our big thing still we've done some more work down at Centennial on that project that I had budgeted for. You know, the streets helped us do a sidewalk. We kind of done one side and we dressed up the other. We think we're going to need some more riprap, but well, we've kind of been waiting for some rain to see what we've done, you know.
Work or not?
Yeah. And we know we've done some improvement, because if it poured, being we got the sidewalk in, I doubt, I think we stopped the screenings part of, draining to the creek bed.
That's good.
So now it'd just be a matter of fixing any other major washouts. But what we've done, the guys got a lot of compliments on, looks good. Just, I think they got the playground site. I think it's prepared now for the playground. But like I said, a couple of these projects, I think we're fixing to start on the wall behind the tennis court here pretty soon. Some of these are more, to me, even a little more time. You want to do it for the rains hit, but we're going to redo that concrete wall because it's washed out and all that flows out on the course, and that's what we're getting. You're not going to stop the water, but you're trying to stop the mud from, and then it sits there and you get these, kind of stains in the court. But, so other than that, cemetery, they've been staying, just like funeral-wise, it's, just busy as normal, couple here, 2 or 3 a week, probably. The two of them, they always got something to do, whether it's the dad or leaves, and once again, the street helped us, but the parking lot, when we poured that a few years ago, they just put riprap at the end, so it's always bugged me. So we got that out of there and put in actually more like a stem wall where it's nice and straight. And then they've been hauling dirt, dressing up there, and it looks nicer, be easier to maintain because now they can just mow right straight down it. It just gives it a lot cleaner look. And then they poured a little extra pad where they hose off their mowers and stuff. Other than that, like I said, between the Centennial, the tennis, and the playground, that's our main. Of course, we always keep the certain repairs do here and there, and tables to work on. For the next couple of months, we always keep those inside projects to do. But other than that,
Any flack about the Christmas lights in the park?
I guess there's supposed to be some discussion tomorrow night on the council.
What's the problem?
Just didn't have the person to prepare them like we always had, and it didn't, and, we don't have time to go through them and all that to get them ready, and so they just didn't get put out.
Can I chime in on this?
Yes, please.
So, one of the other problems that we've got, that we look at, we bought those in 2000, right?
Yes.
So we paid $20,000 for them in 2000, and we've paid $5,000 to $8,000 a year to maintain them. So we're looking over $100,000 in maintenance in labor just to keep those up and going. And again, when they look at them, they're going to need more and more and more every year. I think they've done this community great, but I think it's time to consider something new for next year. At the point where we're 4 times the cost of the product 25 years later, it's time to realize they're not worth their investment. They're beautiful, they're history, I got it. They're sentimental to a lot of people, but the reality is Frank's guys don't have the time to do it all by themselves. The one that was doing it for the last,
Quite a year.
pretty much since we bought them, is done. She's resigned herself from that. So I think it's, Frank and I've talked, it's time maybe we look at doing something different for 26 going forward.
Was she storing them as well, or something? What-
She would
something. What was she
wrap
doing?
them and,
Do what?
What did that lady do? Did she store them at one point too?
No, we store them, and in the past, it's like she'd keep an eye on the budget. And as soon as the budget got approved, usually late August or early September, she'd be at our shop next day, and we'd take like a load to her, and she'd do them at her house. And then as she got one totally working, she'd wrap it with saran wrap, and then they'd bring them. And actually, she kept them at her house, and then she'd holler at us a month later, ready for another load. And then the weekend, usually before we put them up at Thanksgiving, like the big ones, she'd come to our shop and do them in the shop, her and usually one of her friends.
Yep.
And then we'd actually go to her house that morning, that we would put them out and load them all up, from her house. And then, usually we got them up in one day, but it took a couple, by the time you done the cords, then there's always the 8 or 9 that had motion. But
Well, and-
the saran wrap she thought she was doing us a favor, because like when we haul them on the trailer bouncing around, if we didn't, you go to take that saran and it clings to them. And so, yeah. So
well, and the problem is those lights, we ran into this last year, they're $500 a box. And if you don't get the right color of white, then you have a yellow horse, or you've got a yellow kid throwing a snowball to a, whatever, and I think it's just time to find something new for the park. And there's a lot that we can
Any
do.
feedback on that? Have you heard any community comments?
Just people asking where they're at.
I've never had any, I just said, are we not putting the lights up in the park? And I'm like, usually I said, not this year, we're looking at next year, and usually I just get a sad emoji back or something, but no one's really griped that.
I can recall the discussion, believe it or not, that we had around these lights back then. And this is kind of it's not a lessons learned, but it's something to keep in mind as we make these decisions. The discussion back then was, okay, we can put them up, but who's going to maintain them?
Yeah.
Well, this lady said, I'll maintain them. And everybody said, oh, well, if you're going to maintain them, we don't have to, then what about the money? Well, it won't take that much. And, from that discussion, it looked like got somebody to take care of it, it's not going to take much money. But what we find out, this is what happened with these lights now. Remember when we had the flower bed in front of Lincoln?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have over the years built things and put them in place, and then we lose either the funding or we lose the resources, or somebody's going to take them on other than us. So I think that's why it's really important when we talk about putting things in, that we've got a commitment that this becomes part of the budget, And until we make a conscious decision, now this one's being made because the person that was doing the work says, I'm not gonna do the work anymore.
Yeah.
But if it's the community has said, hey, this is what we run into, now people have become used, expecting it. We can't do it, and so now people, you're gonna get the phone calls about how come we haven't done this, and
I've had like several or messages via Facebook, it's like, well,
You know, I would,
well, let me make one last comment. The total cost of ownership on these kinds of things, you have to think about not what's it cost initially to procure it. It's what does it cost over the life of it? And what is the life? And have you got it built into your funding to be able to maintain it and preserve it? So I just throw that out there as,
I just want,
Yeah, remember the Sertoma Gardens, were you in Sertoma when we had the great idea to build those gardens and layer those things
Oh.
down? And we were all excited, and it looked great the first year. The second year, everybody's going, "Ah." Third year, it's just never been there again, you know? So it was all the excitement at the time, but yeah, they lost their enthusiasm once it came about doing it every year, taking care of it.
so is it in the budget to do lights at the park, or do we need to talk about trying to
They,
get that
they
at
were
some
never
point?
actually in like my budget, the city would have them
they
somewhere
usually came just out
special
of general fund,
fund. But,
Christmas budget.
they're just stored at our
So-
shop, and it came up to put them out, and I was the one that took it upon myself to like, not knowing what would work, and if they gonna look like crap, and who's gonna maintain them after they're up, to just, okay, I told them, nope, we're not, you know.
I think there's things that we can do that will invite people to walk the park. You know, lights around the park. Talked to Frank the other day, a couple times we've talked about, you know, we've got the bridge. We could do a covered tunnel on the bridge that would be just easy rope lights that would look nice and festive. And there's a lot we can do. The snowflakes are
The
still good.
snowflakes,
You can put those up, but you know, when you look at what we've paid just in labor since 2018, it's $31,000 since 2018. What? That's
I
a
mean,
lot.
it is what it is, it's like everything, just like you said, though, swimming pool, you could go down a laundry list if you
Yep.
don't figure.
it's the
Total
history of a
cost of
lot of our
ownership.
city assets. That has been the history and experience.
So
And it's, I think it's something that
I'm good.
I don't know that we as a park board, this is our responsibility to make this kind of a decision. But I think within the city, when we put an asset in place, we have to make a commitment of funding to maintain and support that asset going forward, unless a conscious decision is kind of like we're making tonight that says, hey, this is no longer an asset that we're going to maintain or support. That it's a conscious decision to cut it off and not just let it die that slow death of saying, well, we're out of funding.
Okay, so here's my question on all that. Why wasn't this brought up to this board about this decision to not put these
Well,
lights
we
up?
wasn't in November, so.
Yeah. I think it was kind of when did we talk about it? I said, if you've got the ability, do it.
Yeah, that was.
Kind of
Okay.
tail end of November.
I would
Early
think if
November.
you've got a park board, that those kind of decisions need to go through this board, so that we're not all hit with phone calls and not knowing. I had no idea
Yeah.
until tonight, none. And I've
It
sat on the
was,
park
it was
board.
pretty much almost the last, like the week that we usually do it of Thanksgiving, the short week. It was almost that Monday morning when the guys, we were like, are we doing it or not? And I'd more or less, nope. And plus the weather was really crappy that week.
Okay, so this is
And
something we
it
should
just
probably be
kinda-
thinking of before Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And it's something that should be brought up and talked about at this board. If it's something that's been done for years and years and it's not done this year, and none of us know about it, I don't like the way you guys handled this.
Yeah.
We need to know about it.
Respect that, yeah. So,
Cause it was
I also
kind of
think-
put on us.
While I'm
back,
speaking,
Yeah, I think years ago when they started, they were at the courthouse. I don't know who put them up then.
but,
Yeah, but I'm just saying how it kind of come
right,
about. that,
I get it, but it's time for this city to step up. We don't need little old ladies putting lights together.
No.
We don't need this. We need to come together as a group and maybe get MUB involved, get some people involved. There are local people that do these Christmas lights. There's a
And that
lot
was-
of people, if we
that was
need
kind
to
of the
raise
direction we
money.
took last year.
Right,
When we reached out to some of the chambers, some of the foundations, the banks, to try to offload that, and the last, like he said, right at the last minute in November, the whole thing just kind of crashed, and
Well, I remember last year we had a meeting on it, and the lady come up here and she was starting, works in her garage, and she goes by every day to put lights in or wires this, and I thought, okay.
But aren't we at a point, this city, with the population we have, to do something professional instead of just
Well,
catty-walking it together
and
and
that's what
throwing
we've
it
talked
out?
about, Sherry. Frank and I have talked quite a bit about it, and I think I said to you what, last week, we start January, February, planning what we're gonna do for 26, and come up with something that is classy and timeless and represents the same feelings and emotions that those lights brought, but something that's new, that's affordable, that if Frank's department is gonna do it, that Frank's department can do with the time and the manpower that they have.
Sure.
Or we have that discussion with the chamber or with,
And with MUB, and just get the whole
right,
city
see what
involved.
we can do.
This doesn't have to all fall on Frank and his
Correct.
group.
And I think that's part of what happened this year, is it all did fall.
Well, it's always fall that way. I
and
mean,
so-
it's not unusual. It's been that way for years.
I mean, it's unfortunate. I love to see that stuff. We were talking about this. Heck, all of you've seen, I got a Christmas tree in my office. That's kind of uncommon
Well-
for a mayor, but this is just one of those things where the last couple weeks there, it crashed.
It makes me feel like we've failed as a board, because we're sitting here with a park with no swimming pool, no lights. I mean, we're just kind of letting things go, guys, and we need to pick it back up. And we need to have more transparency, and we need to be involved in some of these decisions.
Well, on that, if I can change it to the next subject then, bring you up, I gave you all a copy of the park bathroom for the tennis courts. I want to bring you all up to speed on that. We've got quite a few things donated for that. The city is going to go ahead and use some capital to purchase the building. The building is $18,850 is the cost of that. It is a good price. Mueller Metals is going to provide that building. We're going to have to demo the bathroom that's there. This is the tennis courts.
Just as tennis courts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you should also have in there the plans that we got from Infrastructure Solutions for the inside. You'll see it's very basic, it's very plain. We've got somebody to do electrical, we've got somebody to do plumbing. I talked to Buddy and Frank today about doing a new slab. The street department can do that slab for us. We'll do a 6-inch slab, and that should be sufficient after the plumbing and electrical's in place. And then we'll get the building in, get it delivered. We went with blue and white to match the other building that's on the property there. Frank's building, it'll be that same blue that he's got with the same white. Those are, the blue doesn't fade too bad, if at all, and the white will be easy to maintain and it'll look good. You'll see that we added, if you're looking at the picture, you'll see on the right side, there's it's a square that says, it just has a circle with the FD. That's going to be the concession area. And then you'll have on the opposite side of that will be storage. And then we've also added 2 stalls. So you'll have 2 bathrooms in each male and female, ADA compliant. So the men's will have a toilet and a urinal. And then the women's will have the 2. The storage will have a roll-up door as well as a 3-foot access door on the north side. And then the idea again was to give a 12-foot canopy on that. So we'll lay the pad to give 3 feet of access way on the west side where the bathroom doors are at. And then eventually we'll come back once it's up and going and maybe put a walkway around it. But for now, the priority is going to be to get those bathrooms up before the next tennis season.
Now, Mayor, and I think this is maybe an example of one. I recognize the challenge that kind of a little bit piggybacking on what Sherry's talking about. The challenge of as running a city is that we have a revolving administration. We elect different people
I like a country.
every 4 years. And so you get some people committed to ideas and others not. I would think on this one, this would be a good one to start with, because looking at this, I see a mechanical room, I know there's plumbing, I know there's fixtures, I know there's electrical, I know there's slab work. All of this will have to be maintained. We're gonna have to have, we will have people that will come in and tear this stuff up. We gotta be prepared for things get. We haven't had any of these restrooms that haven't got attacked over the years.
Right.
And so we should, when we fund this with the capital, we should fund some type of a sinking fund to put money into that says we're going to, in order to maintain this asset over its expected life, it's not gonna take just the $18,000, it's gonna take another $30,000 over the next 20 years and put that in the budget so that we're putting money back. And now then the question will be is the next administration will have to be in a position of being committed to that.
Correct.
And they can always take the option, which we're seeing on a national level right now, is, I don't support that. That's not something that I put in.
Some of the, sorry to cut you off, some of the things that we are looking at outside of what you see here. The PD is talking with, local company about cameras for these bathrooms that'll be on the outside that can kind of surveil them and be monitored through dispatch. We're also talking about, we added in capital, locks. You know, we've talked about that in the past. Do we want magnetic locks, timer locks? Do we want some kind of keypad, some kind of access that would secure these buildings a little bit better? So as we go forward, we're looking at all of those things, seeing what we can do.
Zach, can you look at this map and show me where that's sitting at? There's the tennis courts.
So it is that building, and it'll sit the same orientation.
Same way.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we've talked
So
with.
if we build this then, will he have the liberty to increase his operating budget for the maintenance of it? And I know we don't get commitments for 10 years down the road, but it sets a precedence that we've got a line item and we've got a line item, we've got to
Right.
take care of this, and this is what it is this year, this is what it'll be next year.
I think it's gonna be the managing of the budget that we have now. So you look at what Frank's Group's had to put into some of these bathrooms habitually every year, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars into plumbing and into cleaning and into power washing and into doing all of those. It would just be allocating that money to the maintenance of it rather than the continual revitalizing what's there and trying to bring it back to life. I mean,
Is there like a facilities maintenance line item somewhere in the budget?
I mean, I have my normal repair and maintenance
yeah.
line item that basically just
So
covers
this is a
everything.
hard question, but when this is all built, how much is it gonna cost, do you think, 3 years down the road? It's all brand new right now. How much do you think it's gonna cost to just keep up with it in 3 years? I mean, that's not even a fair question.
It varies, it won't be as much as like the main ones at Whitaker, you know, but, it's, like Whitaker's new bathrooms have been there, what, about 5 years now or something? So, you know, luckily, damage-wise, it's not, they haven't done a whole lot of true damage. It's vandalism, which you repaint, it's the cleaning, what you run into, the nasty pictures I don't show you all, or, you know, crap on the walls and smear it, and it's that kind of, it's stuff that we have to deal with. I mean, yeah, they do damage, ripped off a stall door here and there. And I was shocked and surprised, you know, these new Whitaker actually had mirrors in them. And the first one got broke this past year. I was shocked. I thought, man, they won't make it the first week, you know. And I was shocked. It took 5 years or whatever to break one. But the stall doors, but it's the stuff they do in the bathrooms. It's, you know, and so you talk about like, it's
Do you have
so far we haven't spent much like on maintenance, like repairs. It's man hours, I guess you'd say. Like, you know, they have to spend more time over there to.
Well, and let me interrupt you just a second, because I think you're bringing up a really good point. Most companies they've got a capital budget of which you procure these things. And that's a defined set of money that's put back on an annual basis. But every asset has, on the life cycle asset, you have a maintenance part, which is what you're describing is, in order to maintain these in an operating condition that can be used by the public, you have to go in and clean that stuff up. You got to go that's the maintenance. There's also a repair budget that says when something gets torn up, That's different than just, a lot of times they'll group them together, but that's a different driver of work than the maintenance part. Maintenance is you're gonna do it
Yeah,
come whatever,
yeah.
because it's part of your regular. The repair stuff, do you have an asset that's accessible to the public? And are they out there and you got kids taking sledgehammers to doors and beating them off the hinges, which we used to at the ballpark? So if we had that discipline in the budget, which I think you were talking about, Ron, is those would be numbers every year that people could look at and go, we have all these assets. Have we accounted for what it's going to take to maintain these assets? Do we even have enough money to go build new ones? You know, I mean, none of these are problems we can't solve with more money. The problem we have is we don't have enough money. We're scrambling trying to make ends meet.
The way that our budget is done, and this is done citywide through all the departments, whether it's fire, police, whatever, we have our capital, which is completely, that's Fund 44. It is what it is. And each department, less the golf, the street, and the rec, their capitals are included in their budget lines on their individual budgets. So theirs are not in Fund 44. But repair and maintenance usually is a fund that we give a little bit extra to because it's really a forecasting what we're gonna need. We can't predict the vandalism. We can't predict when somebody drives their car into the side of the building. What we do is we say we're gonna need this much for chemicals, this much for toilet papers. That all comes out of supplies. And then what is it gonna take actually to maintain that building? And that's what we put into that repair and maintenance. So, the PD has vehicle repair and maintenance. They have their building repair and maintenance. So fire, same way. So when we get into the park, his is gonna be the same. It's gonna be that repair and maintenance fund. And usually it's enough to cover.
The one thing, kind of what you're saying though, is this is just, it's replacing restrooms. So I was already doing maintenance.
Yeah,
So it's not like the one that someone's wanting at another park where we'll be adding. Then I will definitely be needing increased budget if we add. But this right now is just replacing one. So I'm hoping actually it'll be less maintenance than what the old one was before, or at least for a while. When you got something new.
Well, this may be a question that's outside the venue here, but has the city ever had a funded depreciation for any assets that it owns? Or is it just we have capital and then when we need it, we just spend the capital? Or is there a replacement funded depreciation process? It's kind of what you're talking about.
yeah, sinking fund type.
Same type.
Yeah, same process.
So we've got the sinking funds for, like the police building, city hall and things, but for this building, no. I mean, it wouldn't be anything to create a new line item next year in the budget. That's easy. That's create an account, put some money there. But understand that money is gonna probably come from the repair and maintenance. It'll just be earmarked specifically for that. So.
But I think this is probably an example of this is what we're running into with our Graham community building over the years. Now it's in disrepair, the cost of trying to go in one fell swoop and put that thing back into service like it should be.
Part of that is you fund it through bonds, through sales tax and things like that, and then it finally expires and it's paid for, and then you do it again. You're always behind that instead of in front of that.
Yeah.
And maybe that's how cities need to work. I'm not that familiar with city finance and things like that, but it'd be nice to have enough funds and money that you would be ahead of that, but you're usually behind it and have to tax another sales tax to do another Graham community building or a new fire station.
And you could sit down and talk with different people and argue that, but I can tell you, and Sherry brought the point up, it's the reason we lost the swimming pool. Mm-hmm. Because we got to a point that the cost of repairing it, and Frank threw a lot of work at it every year, but it got to a point where somebody said, an administration said, we just don't have enough money to put into that this year. We'll deal with it next year. Well, these things start snowballing on you, and they don't magically cure themselves.
So I have a question, Frank. On the bathroom doors and everything at the park, you have to have go manually lock all those doors every day and every night, and
We-
open and lock?
Okay, so for quite a few years now, throughout the 20-some years I've been at the park, you know, we've tried different things. Like when I first went there, the AC, they shut them down come November and brought in porta potties to shut them down. So after a year or two, Leo and I got to try to keep them open and, okay, so basically skip ahead. So Leo and I started a thing where it's kind of like on the weekends. If they're not open, sometimes they're not open. To make it clear, like, when do I open them or when do I not? So we made a thing, 50 degrees. If it's not gonna be over 50, they don't get open. Just that way it made it easy for him, like, do I
But
go open them?
What I'm asking
Well,
is somebody has to
so-
go automatically
Yeah,
lock and unlock.
so for quite a few years now, my thing is, so daylight to daylight, November to March, whatever that is, that's when we close them before we leave work during the week. So yes, we actually go over there, lock them up about 3 o'clock. Because the way we look at it, it gets dark by 5, temperature drops, you know. And done that for quite a few years now. And honestly, I've never had a single person call and gripe at me, how come them bathrooms aren't open? And on the weekends, if it's going to be 50 or warmer, they open them. If not, they don't even open them.
You know, one suggestion I would make is, since we're building this, is put the timing locks on them to where they
But I budgeted
automatically
for-
open and they automatically
Yeah.
lock.
Now, like Centennials that don't get used a whole lot, those get actually shut down in winter. Whitaker main bathrooms, the ones I'm talking about, is the only ones that stay open.
Yeah.
Centennials, once again, the daylight savings deal, they get shut down and winterized and down. And these will be too, and, you know.
We did budget for that.
Did you?
For,
But yeah,
I think
I
we put
just
about, I
haven't-
think we
I
put like
just haven't
12 or
got
something
'em
away
yet,
for
yeah.
locks.
Yeah.
What those are gonna be, you know, I think we brought them up in here at one point, you had said ixnay to the magnet locks, somebody else said they're great. You talked to here, so it's just really gonna be doing, when we get it up, doing the research to find out,
We've got them on the bunker and they're amazing.
right?
You know,
So
bottom line, they're needed, okay?
they are
We need
needed.
to find a way to get them there, and then maybe be a little bit more.
Because there's
to
some
our
out
needs
here
for the
that we've
future
seen it,
than
even like
past,
you've
but
got an app.
It's a need.
And so like if someone, say they wise up that they know they close at a certain time, so they block it open, it'll send me an alert on my phone even that they're wedged open, and I can, hey, call the police or something, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just a matter how far we go with the.
You know, the bottom line is, we are looking at what we can do to secure these bathrooms a little better, but also not block out the ones that need it. When the tennis teams need it, and they're locked manually and they don't have a key, I promise you, they're calling, complaining, so are all the grandmas and mothers. That's kind of what led to these, so we want to get a system, whether it's like you've got there in the bunker, or it's something where it's remote app or whatever. We're looking at that, we're looking at the PD putting in cameras throughout the park, so they can monitor, you know, hey, they were vandalized last night, let's go back and see what happened, see if we can see it, but also just keep an eye on them. That way, we're not relying on Frank and his guys to, did we get them unlocked, did we get them locked? It's just, it's a headache. And, you know, they have the problem when sometimes they get inside and they lock themselves in, and we need to be able to get around all that, so. I hate to say it, it's just money, I mean, it is what it is, so. We put a little extra aside for the building and for that, and I think we'll be all right when we get it done.
It'll be exciting to have something new there, because that building, good lord, how old is that building?
Well, I'm
pretty old,
guessing they built it when they put in the courts, it'd be early 80s, I think,
Yeah, it's,
when they done the tennis courts. Is that when they built them?
it's done its time.
Yeah, that's when they got, yeah, they were, I think that's about right, seems like. A quick question on those cords, are you talking about the water that's running off, behind, is this behind the tennis courts you're talking about?
On
That
the east court, closer to our shop.
Yeah.
A concrete wall back behind
Yeah.
like a bank. So a lot of it fell apart, and so when you get the heavy rains, it's got a washout now from all the dirt and soil, and that's what's washing out onto the, so we're gonna redo the concrete and try to get the, I mean, you're not gonna stop the water from it,
Sure.
but still try to get the drain a certain way, whether it's, you know, but
Do you remember, does that French drain that was put in there, does it still, didn't it run the length of all those courts? Remember we, years ago, put the French
when
drain
they-
around
when they
that?
first put the
Yeah,
They run in front of them, and then there's like one pipe in front of each, so there's 8 of them in front of each court that goes to the creek. But even when we done that, there was all these arguments, it's not gonna catch the water under the courts.
yeah.
That was basically just the runoff, and that's why when they coat the courts, you know, they look good, but, I mean, even after, you know, there's cracks, you know, this wide, but even after they coat them, within a week, that cracks back. They were built over the, you know, there used to be old swamp ones from the pond.
Well, I remember we used to think that they were defying physics because water would come up through that concrete. But they now know that that can happen, that water can actually
So
work
what
its way up.
we're actually hoping, so we were walking it out, discussing what we were gonna do the other day. And we actually are hoping we found a spot that's under one of the concrete berms, if you wanna call it that. It's like washed out, that maybe the water's going under. So we actually and about that is where one of the wide cracks. So we're actually hoping when we get this done, that maybe the water might be running underneath the court from this washout. So we're hoping we might be stopping that. We don't know, but that's our thoughts and hopes that we're actually will stop, you know, some of that water actually going under the concrete, and under the court on that particular one. But
Well, I think it'd be good to have updated the bathrooms and stuff.
yeah, I mean, we've redone the parking, you know, we've went all LED lights, you know, we've been doing the coating on the courts, you know, we put in an effort, you know, these last few years for the
I
tennis.
think the only thing that sticks out the most to me at that tennis court is whenever they built the Humpty Good up in it. Remember that? And the, you know, the engineer you asked a question, where did you get this from? What the city of Tulsa does. Hell, you couldn't even drive over it.
On the parking lot, yeah. But,
Is this building good to go? I mean, does city council approve that?
Yeah, they've approved the funds to be used on that.
Good.
We've also got, 7,000 in monetary that's been offered up in kind, as well as, plumbing, electrical, demo, some of those, framing out of the inside, so, yeah, I think we'll be okay funds-wise.
So when will it be started and estimated?
We're just working out the details with the plumbing and things like that, like coordinating the electrical work, and, I mean, as soon as that conversation is done Thursday, then we'll, probably crank it on a date to start tearing it out, and we'll go from there. But just know that when we do that, because all of the electrical is in there, I'm sorry. Because all of the electrical for the tennis courts is in that building,
you've seen the pictures.
there won't be any night tennis available till that mechanical room is back up and wired. So that's part of the reason we want to do it now in the off season. It'll be a little, you know, inconvenience for some people, but for that period of time, we'll just have to make note that no night tennis, or bring your own light.
All I'm worried about.
No night pickleball,
Just keep the pickleball court lights on, he's okay.
bring your own light and you can play,
It's
but,
gonna be at the rec center.
right, so, yeah.
Some of the young people that are out there, don't need no stinking tennis players.
Like the tennis coach, I've already informed them, you know, I think tomorrow, in fact, they're supposed to be emptying out their side of their stores, build, you know, stuff, just,
Awesome.
so.
Any other questions? Thank you, Frank.
That's the job, right?
That's great.
Dennis Bowman Golf Course Report.
I think you use your headlights, couldn't you?
Thanks, Ray.
All right, golf course just continually to do really well financially, so, I think the end of October, we had 454,000 in our account, plus some, so really doing good. I think what we need to do is probably even look at, maybe talking to Lori Ballou about maybe investing a little bit of that money, you know, at least 100,000, if that's what we're gonna keep back for safety, and it would, possibly make us a little bit of money, instead of just sitting in the bank.
How much do you figure you want to try to invest?
Maybe 100, yeah. And see how we make it through the next year. If we keep our account up, maybe we'll put another 100 in there. Try to, be nice to have about 200 in there, just floating, you know, making some money and for emergency use. And
You know, that's a good question. I've never thought about that. Do we, on those funds that come from the golf course, since that's a
Enterprise?
enterprise fund,
It's all pooled in the city's accounts, isn't it?
so who gets the interest off of that? That's what I,
It does draw some interest.
If I remember right, when I talked to Jeff about that, it all stays with the golf.
so whatever the golf course's amount of money is that's in that cash fund, whatever you wanna call it, then we should get, it sounds like we think we should be getting the interest, the golf course, off of those funds, even though they're commingled with the city.
And make sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what we discussed with the golf.
Yeah, cause that, you know, a few $100,000 at 4 or 5, I don't know what, 4% interest
Yeah.
now. That's 4,000 a year.
Right.
And if we've got 400,000 in there, that's 16.
And you say it does come back into the park funds now?
No, golf course.
Or, I mean, with the golf course
Yeah.
fund?
Yeah.
It does, it does, okay.
I'll confirm that.
Okay.
I'll let Keith know and pass that off.
We're still working a little bit on our pump station. Poly Pro and Tom Cravens has been a big help, so we're about to get that thing working really good. So our pump station's gonna be the best we've ever had it, and, just making it where it's easier. You know, we used to have one big pump station, now we divided it out into smaller, 3 smaller stations, which makes it easier to get it out of that river. So our river has a big steep bank on it, so it's really hard to get it in and out of that river, you know, trying to pull it up that steep bank, even with the backhoe and everything. But I was searching around, and one day I run across a ramp that was across from Chevron Phillips out there in an open field, and so I asked Sean Spears, who used to be the manager out there, I said, who's that ramp belong to? Just sitting out in the weeds, and anyway, he gave it to QMI, which is a little place across the street there. He gave it to them. So I said, well, see if there's any way that they'd just donate that to us, and sure enough, they did. So we got that ramp. It's a really nice ramp. It's aluminum ramp, just perfect for what we need, and it's a little loading ramp that they use to load trucks, like semis or something with it. But it's just a perfect little ramp for us, and so Jerry Cowan at Elite Fabricators, he came and picked it up for us, and Buddy at the street department brought his backhoe up there and lifted it up and set it on his trailer, and so he's making the decking on it a little bit better for our use, so we'll be able to have a nice ramp we can put in the river, slide our pump station in and out, pull it right back out. So it's just gonna make that whole process, which is, it's a tough process, but it's gonna make it really easy. And so
Yeah.
somebody down the road's gonna really like that whole deal as time goes on. So, but anyways, that's the kind of update on our pump station. We've been redoing a lot of our cart building doors. At first, you know, we got 3 cart buildings, private cart buildings. The first one is the original Pro Shop back in 1953, but they've added cart buildings all around the edges of it. And so all the doors kind of gotten worn out, and so we're rebuilding all those, making them really nice. I got a guy, he's doing a wonderful job, and my whole crew out there, I mean, they're the best. We got the best crew, and that's why you know, see so many good things happening out there. Our whole team, outside and inside, is just really good. But he's just doing a tremendous job on building some new doors, putting the hinges on correctly, and they open nice and everything. So all that's going really good. The second building is a wood frame building, but it has the metal roll-up doors. And the last building is all metal. It's a whole metal building. So, but anyway. So we're really trying to get those cart buildings back in pretty good shape, and he's doing a great job with that. We're gonna be doing more painting. We're gonna try to paint some around the pro shop, paint the maintenance building, some of the restrooms that we're working on. We've already done a little bit of improvement to some of the restrooms. As this time of the year rolls around, we can get in there and make them a lot nicer. We're still trimming trees and doing stumps. Then we get our cart buildings done, then we're gonna start working on those bridge approaches. That's gonna be our next thing. Get all them done, some nice concrete and asphalt. During the bad weather, we'll be working on our equipment, pulling our equipment in and sharpening it, going through it. You know, we like to go through all of our equipment really good, so when it rolls out in the spring, it's, all the maintenance is done on it, it's pretty well maintenance-free, other than just general greasing and fueling it up and mowing. We had 37 events in 2025, so about a fifth of those, 7 of them were junior tournaments for kids. So 7 out of 37 were for kids. So I think, you know, it's going to be another busy year. So we're getting our list all prepared, trying to get way ahead of that list and get everybody's tournaments on the dates they want and get it posted so everybody knows when they are. Of course, we're promoting our memberships. That's a big thing we do this time of the year. It's an easy time of the year. It's a great time of year for people to buy Christmas presents, you know. We're promoting that and getting a lot of good response from it. And like I said, I sold a membership Saturday to a guy from Muskogee, so if he's willing to drive up here, that's pretty good. He's got 4 guys he usually plays with, so every time he wants to play golf, he's going to try to go play where his membership is. So he'll hopefully continue to drag them other guys up here, and we might be able to convert them. But be sure if you ever see our stuff, like and share it on Facebook. It just helps. The more it gets liked and shared, the more people will notice it, and just helps us promote. We've had some few issues with hogs out there, so we've been after the hogs. It's, you know, wintertime, they haven't been around there a long time, but every now and then hogs have a big range from what I've learned, and they'll circle around here. They come around that golf course, and they haven't torn up too much that's critical, but they've been along the edges and around some trees, and so we have to get out there and straighten it back up because you can't mow it. You know, they root it up. It's like having a tiller you go through there. It's crazy how much damage they can do just one night. It's just unbelievable. In one night they can come out there. So we're trying to trap some of them out of there. Looking at probably switching our software system. They got some newer software. You know, our software system's a month-to-month deal anyway, so we're just looking at a better program. It's just a lot easier to use. You know, just a newer version. It was kind of made by golfers, so not by software people. So it was made by golfers, and the app's going to be a lot better. Members can just pull up on their app, see their account. If they want to know when their memberships due, they just have it all right there. It's just a lot friendlier, user-friendly version. So we're looking at switching to that.
Is there a difference in cost?
No, it's the same. In the restroom, I think I gave everybody a deal. So
This looks awesome.
good deal. I think it would look really good out there. You know, a few different thoughts I've had on it. You know, I think most people know where it probably sit between 3 tee box and 18 tee box just to the east of the cart path. You can just drive right under it if you're waiting on somebody on 18 tee or whatever. And so it'd be really handy. You know, we talked about making it out of cinder block just so that it's kind of a little bit of a shelter for people, and maybe having the ceilings in there where they're kind of, I don't know if you call them tornado proof but anyway, some kind of little bit more weather resistance if somebody does get caught out there in a storm, that they can have maybe a little safer place to get into. So I'm going to kind of investigate if there's a way to do that. You know, if you have a cinder block building and you get a good top on it, maybe if the roof blows off, but you still have a place. I don't know what y'all's thoughts are on that, but I think people out there, it'd be nice to have if you're going to do something, maybe give them a little hidey hole to get into.
Any estimations about how much it would cost for this bathroom?
No, it just depends. You know, I've talked to Sean, and Sean Penley is one that did this preliminary drawing. He said if you guys wish it, you know, we could hire him as a professional, and he'll go all the way with everything we need to do that, and give us estimates. And you know, so much of it, you know, goes to the interior. You know, like I said, you know, you want to have probably a pretty good heavy door on it, and I would sure like to do the locks. You know, those the magnetic locks or time locks, so that at dusk that thing, you know, it locks up, and I have to worry about kids coming out there at night tearing it up. But
So
knock on wood, we haven't had hardly any of that.
you're gonna get bids on it?
Yes, oh, yeah, yeah, it'll all have to, so he could, you know, I think the process will
Whole
be.
package, in other words.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, maybe parts of it, I think, I could get the roof donated. I think there's a good chance that, Matt Dawson might donate the roof. He's been pretty good at things like that. There might be a few other things that we get in kind, so, but, I mean, I think we need to hire somebody to do this. Sean Finley's been great, and he's a golfer, he kinda understands. And then, all the design and the thing, everything's gonna have to be approved through the Corps of Engineers, through the Park Board, through the council and Corps of Engineers before we can do anything like that out there, so. But he could come up with the cost estimate on us, and,
I think it would be pertinent at this point to go ahead and get it started.
I do too.
yeah, all right.
So my question is, what do you do with the existing restrooms when we build this new one?
Well, that one for sure we'd take down, that little block one on 6, that needs to just, we can demolish that. And we can do that probably ourselves with our backhoe, it won't take much
Where's
to.
the one you're gonna demolish? I'm trying to get my,
The one by 6 tee box, the little small cinder block restroom,
yeah,
By the cedar trees.
okay.
yeah.
Okay. And this is this going in a place where there's not one right now?
Yes, just kinda east of 18 tee box,
Yeah,
just that little clump of trees, just there's a big opening between that and 3 tee box.
okay.
So if you,
Just east of that, on that
Yeah.
side of that too, okay, back in there. Yeah.
so, I mean,
know, I
that's
think-
a logical place where it's open, that, there's plenty of space there for it, you can have plenty of space for an aerobic system, and,
So if you do this, how many other restrooms out there, if you don't tear anything down, what's the restroom situation look like?
right now, well, count the one in the pro shop, the one on the course, we have the one at 10T, we have one at 6T and 15T. We have 3 out there right now on the course.
And this would basically replace all 3 then?
Just one of
Just
them.
one.
I mean, like we talked about, we might keep the one on 15, but we need to go in there and remodel it, really, you know, fix it up. But, or you could take both of those down, 15 and 10, because it's not too far, you know, centrally located. It wouldn't be too far no matter where he's at to get to the bathroom. Counting
I'm
the
just
one on
thinking, if
10.
you leave them there
Yeah.
and say, well, you know, at least we got this one, it's a nice one, now these aren't nice, but you got another one.
Right.
It's just gonna make people go, why don't you do this bathroom? I mean, if you take them away, then you don't have to worry
Right.
about it.
Yeah, you
So,
got the one
as
nice
you go
one.
through that,
Right.
think about the fact that, you know, if you
Yeah.
just get rid of them,
Get rid
then
of
we don't have to deal with the
Yeah.
fact that they don't work.
Well, the other one, I mean, is not a bad bathroom. I mean, it's not a bad.
No, it's not too
It just
bad.
needs to be remodeled and
Yeah, needs, yeah,
facelift.
yeah. Needs to be-
And it would be good to have out there anyway, cause then you'd have 2.
But you
Okay,
might have
pretty decent.
some that are more trouble than they're worth, and
Yeah.
sitting there is gonna just be more
Sure.
trouble.
And just more upkeep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and people
So
will-
how many, okay, here's a question for you. How many restrooms are typically on a golf course?
Out on the course, typically one.
Yeah.
Most golf courses will have
There
one.
you have it.
And
It's all we
They
need.
got a lot of trees. I mean, I don't understand the real problem.
so even if you tore the other 2 down, we still would have 2
I've
out
heard
on the
that's a
course.
problem.
So, but yeah, that's something, I mean, I think we can cross those bridges when we get there, just a matter of,
Well, I think you definitely get it started and see what the cost is and try to
Yeah.
afford it, cause I think that'd be awesome.
I'm all about
And I
that.
assume,
Okay.
and I think you've put a kind of a priority schedule on what
Right.
needs have what priorities, and I assume this is the next priority.
that's why-
on that-
exactly.
On that list that you have.
Let's do it.
can we hire Sean Finley, or how do we need to go about doing that, Mayor?
Well, I'm gonna guess the project's gonna be over 100,000 for everything.
Right.
So it's gonna have to fall under the competitive bidding act, so we're gonna have to put out bids for everything.
Even the design?
Do we have to make a recommendation for him to go forward to pay for the final plans? And
Infrastructure to do the design, which they can, and we probably could get around having to pay an outside, since he already works for us, he already is on. We can have infrastructure do a design that would give us something to go bid with.
Okay.
And he can give you a pretty reasonable estimate, I think, you know.
Yeah,
if
he's
it-
usually pretty close. So,
Let's say let's get it started. Whomever we do that.
So yeah, I think that's, we get some nice restrooms out there. it's gonna really kinda top off our golf course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then start to a pro shop.
So do we need any action from our group, or?
To do that.
It's not on the agenda.
I think that's all I have on my little report.
Number 5, discuss possible recommend to council action to accept a bid for the purchase of 60 new golf carts for the Pryor Creek Golf Course. Bids received: Clear Creek Golf Car and utility vehicle in the amount of $237,345, and Yamaha Golf Car Company in the amount of $312,336. Dennis? That's number 5.
All right. So I guess everybody get the little bid packet the engineers sent out. So, but the thing about these bids, keep in mind, is that we're really not comparing apples to apples. What we have out there right now is the Yamaha Quiet Tech, and we went with that, 5 years ago?
6 years ago.
Yeah.
Been a while.
So we went with that Quiet Tech because we wanted to go gas, but we wanted a quiet gas. So in order to keep the noise level down. So and Yamaha has the quietest golf cart out there. So unfortunately, nobody else can. I mean, you can't hardly. The other two companies don't have a quiet golf cart, quiet gas cart. So their technology is quite a bit less. Now Yamaha makes a regular gas cart that might compete with this bid. I don't know if it would with the Clear Creek club car bid or not, but they have a less expensive cart. It's not Quiet Tech, but we want Quiet Tech. We've always wanted Quiet Tech. That's why we went with the gas carts. I think I took Mr. Reeser out there on it. He asked me, we're driving along, he says, is this gas or electric? He couldn't even tell.
It's
quiet.
Well, they're quiet.
Yeah.
They certainly are.
So,
But they charge a little more for that.
yeah. Like I said, they have a less expensive cart. Yamaha does. That if we're looking at price, that you could, have it rebid against a less expensive cart. But
The 312 represent pretty much replacement of the same quality
yes,
that we have now.
yeah, exactly.
And what you're saying is this other is a bid, but it's not, there's a lot of difference in the quality of what
Yes.
we really want.
And the decimals, when you look at the decimals, I think, the noise decimal for a Yamaha is 60, and for the club car is 70. So I don't know what percent is that, 15% higher noise here, so.
So what are we paying a month right now for at least the carts we have?
We own the carts we have,
They're
so
done.
we don't pay anything.
We purchased those.
Correct. And that's what we'd be doing, at least purchase, if y'all choose. We do a lease purchase where we pay a lease for 4 years, and at the end, we own them.
I think what he's asking, what was the lease payment before?
Yeah.
The lease payment before, we had 50 carts, was about $2,500.
A month.
Right.
Okay.
Now we're going to 60 carts plus the 3 utility cars. So that jumps it up quite a bit.
Well, plus that was 4 years ago.
Yes, exactly.
And that's gonna be how much a month?
6,100 right here.
So it depends on which
We
company.
do Yamaha 61, and if we
I'm
do,
trying to find the numbers. Okay,
And then this is the lower bid right here.
okay.
so if you're looking apples to apples, the golf carts, the Yamaha has everything in it that you're asking for.
Correct,
What do we have in the specs
yeah.
for these people to bid?
So in the specs, when I sent it to the engineer, I said, here's our minimum specs on the decimals, but he changed it to what was their specs. So the way he worded it was different than what I sent him, but that was his deal. So, let's see how they actually have it worded.
Well, here's what I'm asking is did you require, are these both gas carts?
Yes,
Did you require the certain decimal for the exhaust when you spec this out,
When I sent it to the engineer, I did.
but he took it
sent
out.
it out, and I never seen a copy, you know, when he sent it out till it was already out. And he put in there just noise level in decibels, just show. So,
Okay, well, that should be, that's what we're talking about, is,
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we would measure it.
right.
And what's the difference, well, I don't know if I wanna go down that rabbit hole. I'm curious, what's the difference in decibels between
His
the
is,
two?
Yamaha's 60,
Yeah.
and Club Car, they had a range of 68.5 to 70.
So about 15% difference,
That's what I said, about 15% louder, that's right.
okay? Is that material?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's just.
I don't even know what I probably talk more louder than 10 decibels, I'm sure. Ron says I do, so
So that
Don't have
is,
trouble hearing.
I don't know how much 10 decibels are, does anybody know?
I mean, it's noticeable when you're in the cart. You hop on that cart, you know you're in a gas cart. When I took, like, Mr. Reeser out there, I said, you know, hop on this cart, he didn't know if it's gas or electric. It's that much quieter when it's moving. When the Yamaha Quiet Tech's moving, you can't even tell it's gas hardly. You have to, you know, when they're new like that, you can't even tell.
Okay.
But I don't know how to differentiate 10 decibels.
Google probably does, we'll ask them real
Yes,
quick.
yeah, that's probably a good deal.
So in between these, while he's looking at that, on the golf carts, the difference in Yamaha and this other, what other differences were there?
You know, the Yamaha has a bigger seat, a wider seat, and a little taller canopy, so you don't, and, you know, some of the complaints last time we was looking at these carts, taller people would hit their heads trying to get in, but Yamaha has a little taller canopy. So, and then the seat's wider, so they have a little wider seat, which makes it a lot more comfortable for two big boys getting in it. But that's kind of, and there is a little bit of difference on the suspension. So the front and rear suspension of the Yamaha is all in true independent suspension, each tire. So if you're going across bumps, it's a lot smoother ride.
So Dennis, on the maintenance on the ones that you have right now, how much has the maintenance been on average per year?
It's, so about an average per year, we was probably right around $2,000, and most of that's just an oil change. There's very little maintenance
A
to
year?
it
Well, I
per
didn't
year.
think so.
So we change the oil once a year on them,
Okay.
and
Is it different on the quieter ones? Is there any difference in maintenance or anything?
no.
Let me interject what Google said, now this isn't, I'm not. 10 decibels is extremely quiet, comparable to the sound of normal human breathing, and represents the softest sounds a person with normal hearing can perceive, just above the threshold of silence. While 0 decibels is the quietest sound detectable, 10 decibels is the softest audible sound in a very quiet environment, like a soundproof room with your own breath, with sounds like rustling leaves being around 20 decibels. So I'm just trying to get us grounded on is, because this, it sounds like if we're using this as a difference, we just want to make sure that
Yeah,
we're comparing apples to apples.
right.
And it does sound like, I mean, this is a non-biased
Right.
opinion of what that is. So to me, I would say this doesn't sound like an issue to me. Does it to you guys?
So we're trying to figure out which is the best bid here, correct? I mean, we want the best bid for what we think is for our company or for our town.
Yeah.
You know, even though it's more than, $75,000 more than the lowest bid. So it sounds like he thinks that's the best bid for us.
Yamaha.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess the question bears to be asked. At the end of the day, if what more bang for your buck are you gonna get? Does the club car have any of the features that we're gonna add to it, like the GPS or any of that?
Now, both of them, the GPS will have to be bid out on both.
So that's,
And that's why we
That's
kind of figure out
so
which
that's a
cart,
that's a non-item then.
which cart you want, and then we'll get GPS accordingly.
And then as far as Yamaha, the lifespan, we've had them how many years and how
Yeah,
many years have we ran Yamahas?
since 21.
And issues have been,
Oh, they're, I mean, really pretty small. The last month, let me put it, probably the last 3 months, we've spent about $6,000 on repairs. That was just the last few months, and they're quite, getting old, so.
so just for giggles, if a club car, is that resale value?
Yeah,
What is the resale value of a club car compared to a Yamaha?
yeah. I'm not in the resale business on that. I couldn't exactly answer that question, but Yamaha, just from my experience out there, Yamaha has the highest resale gas cart. Yamaha dominates 80% of the gas business across the United States. So they're, it's pretty well the #1 gas cart. And there's a reason, because those engines are really good. Our maintenance carts, they're like, what, 6, 7 years old? No engine problem. I mean, they're just really good little carts.
Do you know what percentage of courses use gas versus use electric? Would you have any idea? Okay.
Yeah. When you look at public courses, it's a lot. I know that, because like all the public courses around our area use gas. Well, Claremore doesn't. Owasso got gas Yamaha. I know Page Belcher has, Sand Springs has gas Yamaha. Mohawk has gas, and Page Belcher has gas, and I'm not too sure about South Lakes.
Well, let's talk about the service piece of this. And I don't have a dog in this fight,
Right.
but when I think of servicing a gas cart, I think I've got to have a storage tank of gas. I've got to drive the cart, unless it's a porter, but I've got to drive the cart up and actually fill that cart up every day.
Well,
Or,
yeah,
I guess how often it gets used.
2 weeks, every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, so it runs
Yeah, that runs.
about, so if you run it, how many, just out of curiosity, how many rounds can you run on a gas cart without?
You get about 27 ounces per round of gas. So it's pretty inexpensive. 27 ounces of gas will get you 18 holes.
And how much gas, what's the size of the tank?
6 gallon on Yamaha, and I don't know what club car was.
That's okay, that just.
Probably a 5, I think, but I'm not sure, 5 or 5.5.
But I'm thinking of the process of going to a gas tank and having to
There's
fill
6.
up each individual cart
They're both 6.
versus plugging it in.
Yeah,
Yeah, plugging each individual cart in every single day.
and then
Yeah.
unplug it.
Now that's now.
Yeah, but that, to me, I think I could plug those carts in quicker than I could go. Now, I don't have to gas them every day. That's
Right,
true. So
every
when
2
you weigh the,
weeks.
what's your thoughts on the maintenance side of that?
Oh, I
You
love
feel
the
like-
gas, without a doubt.
Okay.
Without a doubt, gas is the way to go. I mean, you can, electric cart, you can run out of juice, you're gonna have to charge it up before it can go again. Gas cart, if you run out of gas, you put gas in it, keep going.
Those batteries are silly,
They are
Yes, batteries are
expensive.
crazy.
$200 a piece.
But they say they're supposed to last 4 to 5 years, but on a golf course, that's probably not their life.
Yeah, they're coming out with, the lithium batteries now, and a lot of people are going to them, but man, what do you do with that big lithium battery when you're done with that?
Right,
I
there's
don't
that
know.
problem.
Yeah,
Plus, if you have, okay, and I've experienced this, I've got electric golf carts at my house, and the grandkids get in them and take off and run over the speed bumps and bounce the batteries out of them, and
yeah,
then they're messed up, and you've got to put new batteries in them, and they still had life in them. So if you get these, if you get anybody out there on a golf cart, on a golf course with batteries, and they're running wild, and you have
you
that
can get
issue.
a bump, but yeah, gas cart's by far the best way to go. I just truly,
The ones we have now, they're included in a trade-in on this, I assume.
yeah, they're all,
Hundred
both bids.
thirty-five thousand.
Yeah, both, yeah, they each gave us the same amount of trade-in, which was kinda interesting.
So I guess what I'm saying, I'm getting to is, you got some carts over here you're gonna be paying 213,000 for, or whatever. Okay, lower amount. Then you got these Yamahas. Are we gonna have better value at the end of 4 or 5 years with these Yamahas than when we had these club carts? Does that come into play too?
I think it does. I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely think it does.
Resale
It's
value?
not like all
Resale
this-
value for the Yamaha, I mean, that's what everybody
Higher
wants, you know, if
So what's our
you're gonna,
difference, 70,000? Is that
What?
what we're looking at, 75?
Yeah, but we've increased the number of carts by
yeah,
considerably.
yeah, 10,
10
And
carts.
we've got
3
10
maintenance.
and then 3 maintenance carts.
Right.
So just given, what do you think the value of the 10 extra carts and the 3 maintenance carts? What does a maintenance cart cost?
They're like 10,000 and something right there.
So 30,000 of this
Yeah.
is in maintenance carts.
Yeah, about probably 32,000. Yeah,
And 10 out of the
10,000,
60
30,000.
is what, another 15%
Right.
of the cost of this bid is because we're getting 10 more carts.
And there's a lot of tournaments we had that we could have
Didn't
used those
have
10
enough.
carts. And when you look at 10 carts, it's not only a cart rental, it's your green fees is $30 a person. That's another $60 every cart. So almost every time the cart goes out in a tournament, it's like $92. And so 10 more generates that much more in you know, $900 in a one-day event where you can have, you know, 120 people versus 100 people.
Dennis, if you talk to anybody that's running the club cars on the courses, do they see a difference in the club car and the Yamaha?
Well, I had, yeah, we took our group up to our inter-club tournament. They had some gas club cars up at Adams, and the guys didn't like them. Our guys didn't like them.
Really?
Yeah,
So Yamaha, we're getting the utility vehicles
Different.
too.
huh?
The Yamaha, we're getting the utility vehicles as well?
Yeah, both of them, you know, either
They're
way,
both
we
the
need the
same
utilities, right?
Number of
package.
units, okay, I'm trying to make sure, okay. You know, if you do the math, your budget's gonna go, from what you've been, you're gonna go to either 84,000 a year or $65,000 a year. Now, you're about $20,000 difference a year in the two bids,
Right.
okay? And then you have some value, and that you have more asset value when you trade in next year with the ones. And your recommendation would be to spend the money.
The club car, I mean, the Yamaha, yeah. So I would stay with the Quiet Tech. If you don't wanna spend that money, then we need to rebid and have, that way Yamaha can bid their less expensive cart, which is more apples to apples, then you can make a better decision.
So the club car is a lesser cart than what?
Yeah.
So we're not even bidding apples there?
Right.
You're not bidding apples to apples,
So,
you know, cause it's
yeah.
a Quiet Tech cart, you know, it's a
And
Quiet
Club
Tech
car
cart.
didn't have one.
So do
Club
we
car
have-
don't even make a Quiet Tech cart.
Do we have any issues on the bidding issues if we accept the recommended quality best bid over just the best dollar bids because we can't get apples to apples? How does this work in the city's bidding process?
Just gotta prove it to the council, and that's really what it's gonna come down to. That the best interest of the city is to go with the higher.
How difficult would it be to get Yamaha to give us another bid on,
Another Yamaha dealer?
no,
No,
just the
no.
same dealer, just not the Quiet Tech, just
Yeah.
on the regular, so that they could have something to compare it to, Dennis?
Steve said, hey, we want you, but you're gonna have to get skinnier type of deal, right?
Well, different
No, I
cart,
think
it's a
what you
different
do-
cart,
Well,
which is
the
talking
reason
about.
why you're buying the Yamaha at a higher value, I see what you're saying. Here's what Yamaha's equal to
Club
club
car.
car, but the reason why we're not going there, because it's not apples to apples to what we're
Right.
actually wanting, which is the Yamaha.
I think if you asked Yamaha to rebid and didn't go to the other people and rebid, you'd have some issues there.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll
Yeah.
tell you what,
Bid it out.
we're new at this in the city, but I'm not nearly as comfortable. We've got to maintain an integrity in this bid process. This, if we start down this path of saying, yeah, we get bids, but, okay, now we're talking about some specs that weren't called for, or they weren't apples to apples, that's just not a good way to do business.
We really should have got 2 bids from Yamaha. We should have got the Quiet Tech and then the regular.
Yeah.
Is what
yeah,
we
they
should have done.
yeah.
That way we could have seen,
Yeah.
okay, this, and this is how much more we're gonna have to pay to
Right.
get up to this level.
The only way to do that is to rebid it all out, I guess. I don't know.
But what would you change in the bids package?
Well, it sounds like to me, just listen to him, that he tried to bid it with the Quiet Tech, but it sounds like the person that wrote the specs for it, he changed it.
Mhm.
And so, that's what kind of confuses me is,
But you know what? We are saying, just based on word of mouth and experience here, that the difference in these 2 carts is noticeable on decibels. I just read you the definition of what the difference was. They're measuring it in breath in a quiet, soundproof room. So we're not really coming from a basis of being knowledgeable in this. We're just making some assumptions that, and for an engineer understands these kinds of things better than we do. So if he took that, he knows what he's putting together. I mean, it's a good question to ask him, but he's an engineer, they do bid packages. And he said, this isn't any difference. This isn't gonna be noticeable from a decibel standpoint. Sounds like he's right based upon what we're reading. For us to come back and go, oh, well, yeah, this is like a locomotive versus somebody, on a bicycle. Well, no, it's not that kind of. So we can't, I don't feel comfortable us jumping to some conclusions about rationalizing a decision that maybe we want to make, but we went through a bid process. That, we can't do that. That's just not a good way to do business and maintain the integrity of this process. There's reasons that we want to go down this path because we want to do what's in the best interest of the city.
Sure.
The other thing you could do is have both of them bring their carts out and you could hear the difference
Yeah,
yourself.
you can do that.
Yeah, because it's the difference I think is a lot more than the Google led on to be. When you hear, because I've been around them both, you hear one, you hear the other, it's not even close. It's noticeable.
I personally would go with the Quiet Tech, the Yamaha, but there is a price difference.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. You could have a special park meeting out at the golf and have them bring both of those carts.
They'll bring them up here to the parking lot. That's what we did last time. They actually drove it last time in the parking lot.
Well, isn't this, I didn't know who this vendor was. Didn't you say this vendor's Club Car?
What's that?
Club Car
One is the other.
is
was
the
a
other
club car.
vendor?
Yeah,
Correct.
Clear Creek. Yeah.
Well, I don't golf.
Yeah.
Quit that many years ago at the request of other golfers. But doesn't Club Car, aren't they considered the Cadillac of golf cars
In the electric business.
in the electric business?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but not necessarily, because when you go to Southern Hills, they have Easy Go. And Southern Hills is a premier
Yeah.
golf course in the state, and they have Easy Go. So they're up there, but yeah.
I think we thought Club Car wouldn't even bid this, didn't we? Because,
They didn't last time,
thought they did.
but they changed ownerships. So it's a new owner now that owns the what do you call it?
Club car,
Yeah, the
dealership.
dealership, there you go.
okay.
So it's a new ownership, and they're actually right there in Tulsa, so, and they're great people, I mean, that's for sure, there's nothing against them.
So
Well-
what you're saying is bring them both out here, let's listen to them, let us determine what we think so that we can at least stand behind, made a credible decision as we
Right.
could make and recommendation. Is that kind of where you're leaning? with
Yeah, I
this?
mean, there's, if,
Okay.
Help us out, Zach.
Well, I mean, I understand what you're saying about on the bid process, but in reality, if this is, Yamaha is the best in the business, and,
according to who?
well, I mean, if Yamaha says this is the best they make, okay, and Club Car says, well, this is what we make, this is as close as what Yamaha has. And it's not, now we're gonna go have, you know, you said don't have Yamaha re-quoted or send it back out for quotes. I mean, I totally agree with that, but it's like, we're not really quoting apples to apples. There's so much difference in
You know
both cards.
where I come from is.
Because I think that Yamaha's a better card, and if we look at it,
It's a better car, you're gonna spend $20,000 more a year, okay? I've heard the two, so I can tell you, there's a difference that you won't recognize until you hear it yourself.
It's significant.
Okay, I can just about guarantee that. But if we, as a group, feel we want some credibility behind what we're doing, then I think you might wanna layer that with, let's listen for ourselves and just not listen to me. You know, as far as from me listening and from what I'm seeing, and that we've done a lot to keep this golf course at a very high level of quality and credibility, and it's paying off. And I would hate to see us make a decision that's gonna lean it the other way, too. And so, but there's, all those things have to be taken into consideration. I'm open to any of that, but from me listening to this, I would go with Yamaha.
And you know, at the end of the day, we all get a vote,
yeah.
and it's gonna be the majority win. So this is, but everybody gets to voice their own thoughts and ideas
You bet.
in the discussion.
That's what
And I
it's
think
all
that's what we're doing. I would ask you the question, do you think that the sound of the carts has a financial impact on the course and the amount of play?
No, sure, over time.
Do you think people make a decision based upon the sound of the carts, and there's enough of a difference? That's what I'm gonna be thinking about is,
If I can just give a
Yeah.
little history on that. So we used to have the electric carts out there. We wanted to go to gas, and Yamaha had the Quiet Tech, so that was the driver behind that decision. We could go with gas, but it's not gonna be noticeable like the older gas carts back then. They were really even louder. I'm sure they get quieter as the years go along, but we didn't want a bunch of noise going around there. And then the members in there have to drive their electric carts, and then here comes a gas cart whizzing by them, you know, after. So that was what drove the Quiet Tech decision to, back then. It was because it was keeping the noise down.
I think it would probably, just watching this conversation, I think there's a lot of doubt. I don't think it would be a bad idea to do a no action. Have him bring them out. If it is the better cart, it'll speak for itself. But also then when it comes time to present to the council, you've got that extra layer of, this is why we're going with that higher payment, that higher cost versus this, and invite them out too to come look at it.
I think that's a great idea.
You know,
And that way, there's no action tonight, there's no action tomorrow night. Get that due process done and let them speak for themselves. It's,
Yep.
we've never done that
Agree with it.
before.
Well,
So, why
we
not?
brought them out here last time we
Yeah.
bought ours.
So,
We did, I brought both
It was-
friends.
well, then let's do it again.
to speak to what you said, okay, about, is it gonna make a difference? I've been to courses where you get in a cart and you go, whoa, these are sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I've been to them, I don't know if this is gonna make it through. Now, I don't know if there's that big a differential in this, but, and I'm not I golf a little bit, probably ought to golf a little bit more, according to my wife.
Exactly.
But I can tell the difference, and it makes a difference on me, it makes a different impression on me.
but do you make the buying decision
Yeah.
based upon the sound of the cart? Is it that much of a differentiator?
Yeah.
That you would go say, I'm not gonna go to this course because they're running these carts versus running these. But Dennis spoke to that. I mean, we knew that there was a difference between electric carts and everybody out there is this true? That everybody that everybody that houses a cart stall out there, and how many do we have?
70,
70. Are any of them gas?
one got snuck in there on me, but
So 69 out of 70 members,
90% of it.
yeah.
well, that's more than 90, are electric carts.
Well,
Yeah.
now the ones that trail them on, there's quite a few of those that trail on gas now. Because we had the trail on feet.
And I'm not advocating electric cars, I'm just saying, I can see us kind of, our biases maybe coming into this because of, and we've got to respect Dennis, I mean, he's the one that's running this. But I think we need to ask some of these questions sometimes about, is there really a differentiator here?
Right. The other side of that is the trade-in value. I'm sure Yamaha's gonna have a higher trade-in value. When you look at, they're giving us 2,700, and I think we paid 4,700, so over the course of that lifetime, I think we lost $2,000 on them.
That's not bad.
And they made us a ton of money. So, but the maintenance on it, my guys are familiar with the maintenance on those. I mean, that's a little learning curve on a whole, cause that's a whole different engine. It's a Kohler engine versus a Yamaha engine, and so.
But look, because I just want to put a nail in this. In our bid process, these two came in, and they both met the specs. Right?
Yeah. Specs the engineer sent out, not the ones that.
Yeah. And so we're looking at specs that are supposedly, and if the engineer changed the specs in a way that materially changed the different requirements, then we probably need to have the discussion with the engineer about, hey, these are no longer, you know, you've changed something here that we had as a spec. But I don't think, we didn't specify decibels.
I did.
Did you? Okay. And he came back and said, apparently when he put them in, he said he must have thought those were compatible, that they weren't different. Because,
You know, it could have been that, we want to bid this out, we want this much decibel. And you go, well, you can't bid it out, then nobody else has them. So let's lower the decibels so that, or raise the decibels so we can get more bids.
Yeah.
Could that have happened too?
Yeah.
well, I think he would have told us
We would have thought.
that he changed our bid specs so that we could get more than one.
So we wonder why he changed the decibels.
The other side of that argument would be he didn't think it was material.
Huh?
He didn't think it was material in a different, he didn't think it was a different spec.
Yeah.
He thought they were,
Why don't we ask him that question
Yeah.
on top of listening to him?
and I think that's what we're doing here for the mayor to put together his list of whatever questions he's going to ask.
So on item number 5 and item number 6, let's table 5 and 6 until we, no action or just no action instead of table? We'll do no action instead of table. So that way we can get better understanding from several.
Can we have sounds good. Can we have a quick discussion on the number 6?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Discuss possible recommended council action to accept a finance or lease purchase quote for 60 new golf carts. One quote received from Bank of Commerce for 60 months at a rate of 4.25 cents. 2 other quotes were requested for First Priority Bank and RCB, but have not been received as a posting, and we did get them in at late, so.
So, Dennis, can you give us, for educational purposes, kind of the financial aspects of when we buy these carts, how they hit the books, and so we can compare apples to apples? For instance, you're saying that whichever company we go with, we're going to go out and we're going to get funding from one of these financial institutions to pay for those carts. And then we in turn are going to make payments at the defined interest rate here over the course of this. And at the end of this, we're going to have a salvage value, which Ron's talking about, of what. So if you put all this together, you can actually put a pencil to this and say, what's the cost?
Right.
I mean, apples to apples cost. So that is the way you're talking about doing these new carts too, is we're talking about not doing a lease purchase, or, you're calling it lease purchase.
That's, I think that's a
Just
great term
financing.
there. Yeah, so
Yeah,
lease
it's-
purchase.
Financing.
But I think,
Technology.
when I think about lease, I think about when you get a lease, you don't own the vehicle, you're just paying them a monthly payment, at the end, it's theirs.
This
Whatever
is,
salary-
this isn't a true lease, it's a
No.
financial a lease, a finance lease, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
True, a true lease is you have a residual defined,
Yes.
okay? And if you do all these and keep up the maintenance and they're in this good a condition, it's.
and you only run it so
you
many
get this much
miles,
for it, yeah,
Yeah.
you get this much for it, if not, then there's.
and they do
penalties.
the maintenance on it.
Yeah, and you gotta follow that. This is just a finance lease, as I understand it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like
so
a
we're
dollar
using
bu-
the
like
term-
dollar
It's a
buyout.
loan,
It's a loan.
it's a loan.
So we should maybe start talking about it as a loan and not confuse people who are saying, why are you leasing?
Well, they do the lease language because cities are limited in what they can do regulatory.
Oh,
and so
okay,
they
well-
change all that
We
stuff,
kind of talked
okay?
about this a couple months ago. Cities are not allowed to incur that debt as a loan. So we can do it's just a loophole that allows us to, put it in that term, it's a loophole. We can do a lease purchase, not a lease purchase,
$4.
right.
See,
From
the
functional
city can't-
terms, though, it's
I
a
don't think
loan, we
you
should
can't
think about it.
contract out for more than a year at a time on.
Correct.
And that's where you get caught in all this.
Okay. So that's what we're going to do, is we're gonna have the funds to pay them off. At the end of this lease, we're gonna own some cards like we do, so it's exactly the way we're doing it today.
Yep.
And so the interesting numbers are going to be, what's the loan rate? What's the term as far as how long? And what's gonna be, we think, the residual value that we're gonna have to salvage at the end of it, whatever you wanna
Correct.
call it.
So the term's supposed to be 48 months. I think, had a little typo there,
So it's
60
basically
months.
what's the value of our assets?
But everybody should have bid 48 months on their bid to finance it. So,
All these bids are 48 months,
right,
okay, to a zero balance, basically, or $1.
right,
Yeah, that-
exactly,
okay.
to a dollar
And
amount.
Just for clarification on this, because I kind of got Dennis on Saturday. And I talked to Jay this morning, the RCB bids and the other bids, Dennis just didn't get them to Jay in time for when she posted. You
Right.
actually received them.
But
Yeah.
they didn't
On the
breach,
third.
we didn't breach any confidences in the bid.
No,
No,
but for
not
anybody
really,
who would
so.
say, maybe that one came in after it was posted or
Right.
whatever, and that's why it's 2 basis points lower. It was received before, it didn't get to the end.
I, for one, appreciate that, because that thought did go through my mind.
That they
When-
waited till it was posted and then put it up, yeah, that,
And I looked at them, I go, boy, that's, okay.
yeah, we went through. Dennis received the quote.
This is
on the
public
3rd.
information,
Yeah.
and now people are bidding.
Yeah,
So
I
these are the-
received
I'm gonna
it.
say that, I'll step away again.
I thought I sent it to her, but I didn't send it to her. Then when I did send it to her, she didn't get the attachments, and I was on the lesson tee with the client, and I couldn't run in there and resend it real
Yeah.
quick. When I finally did, it was,
So Bank of Commerce is 4.25, RCB is 4.23, and First Priority 5.75.
correct,
So it's a push between Bank of Commerce and RCB.
correct.
And they actually have all theirs broken down.
It'll be interesting to kind of see, I mean, Dennis, just in your opinion, okay? How much more is that Yamaha cart gonna be worth than, I mean, because that's what we're talking about.
Exactly.
I mean, do you have a clue, or would you give us some thought to that?
I would
mean,
say.
On a
it's
per
just
car
ballparking,
basis,
right?
this
And I
costs
don't
this
know.
much, this costs this
Yeah.
much. What's it gonna, I mean, because we're not looking at the full difference in value here. We're gonna get some value out of the more expensive carts. Hopefully, if not, then there's a whole nother conversation, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
Well, okay,
yeah, is there a way you can
You know,
help us with that when we meet again to listen?
I can try to see what, probably the easiest comparison, we got 2,700 for our carts. If I could find a comparable cart, club car, what it's worth now, then you have a difference between what a club car versus like our used Yamaha is worth.
Well, I was thinking, is there a simpler way to do it? Can't you, since we're currently using, Yamaha carts, I don't know how, you're talking about the club cars see now, but with the Yamaha carts, run it with for the same length of time, assuming we own it for 48 months. And what percentage of the price that we paid are we getting
Trade in now.
trade in now?
We know.
Yeah, we know.
We know
So let's apply those same percentages. It's a percentage of the gross of what we paid for it, right? The trade-in. So apply that same percentage to whatever the cost of this one was. And that will give us probably as close to an apples to
Yeah,
apples.
you still have quality issues that come in.
Yeah, are they gonna get the same play? They're gonna get the same
Well, yeah, there's a
miles?
Volkswagen depreciation percentage higher than a BMW. I mean, you're gonna run into some of that too, so. But it'll give us an idea, because I think we're struggling with that. I think it's a good point. I think we ought to have a conversation with some guidance on what that might look like, help us.
I'll find some, see what I can dig up on that.
It's just hard to buy cars, isn't it? Doggone.
You're not comparing
Well,
apples
you
to
know,
apples.
it's a slow
like-
season, so I guess that helps a little bit, but we
Yeah.
need to.
The good news is, we only do it once every 4 or 5
That's
years,
right.
so
Exactly.
devoting a meeting to it is,
Yeah.
We need to.
I'll get some, y'all,
conclude the thing, but we need to.
do a test drive and y'all make a decision.
Well, they're both made in the USA, so,
Do what?
they're both made in the USA.
That's right, born in the USA.
well, Dennis,
Check that.
I want you to know that I know what glass packs sound like, and if that club car comes over with glass packs on it, dual exhaust, I'm gonna be skeptical.
Headers straight
You gonna
out.
take the muffler,
Yeah, headers,
you gonna take the muffler off before you bring it out?
They'll bring it out themselves.
Jay.
Last time they brought them right out in the parking lot, and I think that Bill was here, went down the parking lot, and yep, they drove them around.
So when we do that, we wanna get city council people here also that night?
Yes,
I mean, I
absolutely.
think so, yeah.
I would make it day of it, and we can bring them in throughout.
Because they might have the same questions when it
Okay.
comes to them. Final question. Okay, so if you take us, break this down to per cart, okay? The Yamaha carts are costing about how much a cart? And then
60
the other ones are about how much a cart?
Yep, I had that, it's on that sheet.
Is it on that sheet?
Yep.
I'm sorry,
So,
I just
yeah.
didn't dig into it.
6950 versus 5670.
Say that again?
69.
6950 versus 5670.
6950 versus 5670,
Yeah,
okay, are the cost of those carts,
correct.
okay?
Per cart.
Per cart, yeah, okay,
What is that?
that'll help, too.
what's the difference?
$1,300 basically now, yeah.
And so if you were buying cars 10 times the cost of these cars, that'd be a 50-some thousand versus a 60,000. So it'd be about $13,000 difference. And the only reason I bring that up is, would that be material enough that you would say,
Yeah. If you
I'm gonna look at this?
yeah.
Okay. I get a
Motion
number
to
7, motion to adjourn. Second, somebody?
Second.
All in favor?
I'll get y'all some carts.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis.
82%,
This what?
82%. The cheaper ones are 82%, so you.
So the other ones are 18%
18%
higher.
higher.
All right.
And you're gonna, and in real dollars, you know, I don't know what this $2,700 over here means we get per card, how much did they cost us, okay? What'd he say, 4700?
I think I wrote that down. I think that was what,
Dennis, what these cards cost us that we have now, 4,700, 49? And they're giving
Yes,
us,
I have to look back.
and they're giving us 27?
We got all electric carts out there for the private owners is because there was a fire out there at one time, burnt the place down, and they said no more
Okay,
gas
Merry
carts.
Christmas.
Everybody was storing gas in there
Yeah.
by their thing, so the park board made that decision one time, no more gas carts, private gas carts.
And
That's
those
why
are-
we're all electric.
those are all wood buildings too out there,
Wait
aren't
a
they?
minute.
Have they been changed now? I know the old ones had